This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. I've been doing this podcast 7 years. 7 fucking years. It'll be 7 years on May 15th. Fucking crazy, right? It's inconceivable. It's impossible, but yet it is possible. If you have a dream, go for it. You can create a podcast. Just make sure you have a good plan and something to say. This is my social life. And even though there's many days where I dread doing this, there's days where I friggin' love it, like today. Now, today I will be welcoming back Rhonda Wong. She was the queen of Asian extras back in the day, and today we're going to nerd out on the entertainment of our youth. Talk about film, television, music, etc. And it's going to be a great talk. She's an LA girl from way back, so it's going to be a great conversation. Find out, what she saw on local TV back in the day on LA and stuff. And it's going to be fantastic. I love Rhonda. She's not easily offended, and she's a free spirit, and just a lot of fun. Also, this Friday, I will drop Ask Tommy number 6, where I answer frequently asked questions from listeners and guests. And keep your eyes peeled, because it will be yet another toe curler. This talk with Rhonda will also be another toe curler. There's nothing but toe curlers in the world of Tommy Kovac, and I hope you all appreciate that. So yeah, here is my new interview with Rhonda Wong.
Hello.
Hey Rhonda, welcome back. How are you today, hun?
I'm fine. How are you, Tommy?
I am fantastic. I'm enjoying the weather. We finally have hot weather.
Oh my goodness, it's finally spring. Spring has sprung.
It's about time, yes.
Yeah. Remind me, where are you again?
Modesto.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had unusually wet weather. Usually we're already in summertime, but yeah, finally some dry weather. It's nice.
It's about time. I'm just wiggling my toes out of content right now, and I'm so happy to be back here with you.
You and your toes.
Yeah. So, going back in time, do you remember the first movie that had an impact on you as a child?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That should be an easy question, I guess. That's probably gonna be something like The Wizard of Oz or something monumental like that. I really can't say.
Yeah.
For
me,
that's throwing me for a loop.
It's okay. It happens sometimes. The first movie for me was Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Because
you're a youngster.
Yeah, well, I'm an old soul, so don't worry. I'm going to be talking about the old stuff as well. But, the old stuff. But, yeah, Back to the Future was for me because, just like anybody who loves that movie, I have that fantasy of going back in time and seeing my parents when they were in high school and finding out why they were so fucked up and I'm so fucked up,
Oh, no. Yeah, do some digging on that one, huh?
I have. Oh, it's not pretty. Not pretty.
Well, maybe interesting. Let's put it that way.
Oh, it's definitely that.
Okay, so Back to the Future, that's a good one.
Yeah. What genre did you gravitate toward the most?
Oh, probably horror, sci-fi.
I knew you were going to say that.
I loved, yeah, and I loved like stop motion, all the Harryhausen.
Oh.
Jason and the Argonauts, and all those.
The seventh voyage of Sinbad.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Mystery Island.
Absolutely. And so we looked forward to those. Back in the days when we had like 4 stations to choose from, and you just had to, wait for them to show up once in a while on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. And that was maybe, once a year, or, you just kind of had to wait around. But yeah, that was a treat. But yeah, that was, if I had to choose a genre, that would be mine for sure.
What was the cheapest movie ticket price in those days that you remember?
Oh my goodness. Well, we had a local theater where I grew up in Altadena, Altadena, California. You could see 4 movies for $1.
Oh, fucking evil.
Yeah, and it was a great theater too. It was called Cinema 21, and you could go and had a beautiful balcony. It's still there, but they're trying to refurbish it. It's in really bad shape. But yeah, me and my girlfriend used to go and spend all afternoon for $1. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, horror and comedy for me were definitely my 2 favorites growing up. Horror was a little bit hush-hush for me until I got older, and then my parents were hip to it. But I would watch slasher movies when they were asleep, like Friday the 13th movies and stuff.
Yeah. See, and when I was growing up, the slasher type movies, those had not happened yet.
No.
Not the way they are now.
The closest to it back then was Herschel Gordon Lewis, but he was so esoteric. A lot of theaters had his movies banned. Yeah.
Yeah. And some of those, they were so almost taboo. And people, they'd be really under the radar. But yeah, there was not a lot to choose from when I was growing up. But I was fine. I was fine with the classics.
Yeah. I'm a Gidget guy, and I love the old beach party movies. You were growing up when those were huge.
Well, yeah, you sound like you're well-rounded.
Yeah.
from the beach movies to the horror.
That's funny. I talked to Irene Sue earlier this month, and she was in How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, and I told her just how gorgeous her belly button was.
I'm sure she appreciated that.
She did, actually. And it's funny because Annette Funicello, she wasn't allowed to show hers because of her Disney contract. There was like a no belly button policy, just like I Dream of Jeannie had that as well.
Right, absolutely. Wow. And was that in the era of the 2 beds for a married couple?
Yes.
Also?
Yes, in fact it was. Yeah, I never understood that. It's like, okay, how were the children conceived?
Yeah. He snuck into her bed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, well, Irene got to show her belly button, and that's good.
Yeah, but then a couple of years later, the no belly button rule on NBC was finally lifted when Barbara Luna and Nichelle Nichols showed them on an episode of Star Trek.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Wow, what a barrier broken.
Yeah. Well, what's her name? Marion Hartley did a pilot for Gene Roddenberry called Genesis 5 in the early 70s, and he didn't like that no belly button rule when Star Trek first started, so he gave her 2 of them.
Oh, well, that's a way to get around it, I guess.
Yeah. And it's funny, they look so dead-on identical, you can't tell which one's the real one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So one being off-center, you couldn't tell which one was the real one, huh?
No, because they both look genuinely real, and I can't tell which one's the real one because they did a really good job of making the other one look like it was real.
I'd like to see a screen grab of that.
I'll send it to you.
Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm interested. Funny.
So growing up in L.A. during the 50s and 60s, did you guys have a $1 million movie on UHF stations?
$1 million movie? That does not sound familiar. that doesn't mean that it wasn't happening, but yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay,
So
so
what?
it's
Tell me about that.
it started in New York, and people in New Jersey and Philly and all the East Coast places had it. And then out here in California, we got variations of it, but it wasn't called the $1 Million Movie. So it was the UHF station equivalent of NBC Saturday Night at the Movies, for instance.
Oh, okay. All right. Um, I remember, like on Saturday night, like they'd have like the movie of the week,
Right.
something like that. But yeah, and then it'd be like a featured movie. But yeah, I guess every station had their own type of thing like that.
Yeah, because in the Bay Area we had several UHF stations. They all got bought by Fox or Paramount at some point. We had KBHK 44, Action 36. When my parents were growing up, Action 36 had a movie hour hosted by the stripper Carol Doda, with the big breasts, you know.
Ah, there you go.
And then we had Coffee 20, which recently got bought by somebody. That was so sad. We thought that station was going to be non-corporate forever. That was like the only one that wasn't bought. And they would show, they had horror hosts, and they'd show public domain horror films from the 50s and 60s in black and white and stuff. And we had stations like that. But like KBHK 44, I would see, oh God, everything from the War of the Worlds to the Bad News Bears Go to Japan to
Oh wow.
to Big Bad Mama, all chopped up, of course. I would see stuff like that, and it would usually be at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night going into Sunday morning when I was a kid. Like I'd stay up on the weekends or in the summertime.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they'd show everything in the summertime, I'll tell you.
Oh wow. Well, that's good though. I mean, you get a little bit of everything.
It gave me my movie education for sure.
And you seem like you have a steel trap memory.
Yeah, well, I was born in 1983, and I got to see the tail end of things. I was raised primarily by my grandmother, who educated me so much on the past when I was growing up that it's just always been a part of who I am as an old soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if you're you keep mentioning the word geek, but it's very, very
Nerd.
well placed. But yeah, but if you're into movies, you're just into movies. I mean, every genre, every little bit of trivia. So yeah, I mean, this is so well suited for you too. This whole podcast, I love it. I've listened to several of yours.
Oh, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
It really.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
It really warms my heart. It really does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you remember The Sound of Music would be on NBC every Easter. The Ten Commandments was on ABC every Easter, and then sometimes they would shift around with The Wizard of Oz on CBS. Sometimes it'd be on at Easter. Sometimes it'd be on at Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah, I got to see the very end of Wizard of Oz on CBS, and then Ted Turner started showing it on TNT and TBS later.
Right, that's right. Yeah, you could almost count on that. I remember it. I don't remember it being shown at Thanksgiving, but Easter for sure.
Yeah.
For Wizard of Oz and Ten Commandments for sure.
Oh yeah, I got to see that at the tail end before they stopped doing that. I remember that in the early '90s, and it's funny. I couldn't sit and watch the whole full-length movie on home video and see, what they cut out on ABC for time, But
yeah, oh my gosh.
I'm sure they must have cut out a lot.
Oh my gosh. And we're talking about Ten Commandments now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the drama of that movie. My goodness. I mean, it's great. I still love watching it, but just the delivery of the lines and just the epicness of it. It's crazy.
I interviewed one of the little girls in that movie, Mimi Gibson, who was a child actress back then. And I remember, I think it was Cecil B. DeMille, yelled at her because her and this other kid actor, oh God, what's his name? Oh, Eugene Mazzola. They were playing doctor on set, and like Cecil B.
Oh,
DeMille like yelled at them.
oh my God, they got busted, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that movie,
That's
that was Edward G. Robinson's comeback because he had been blacklisted for a while by McCarthy.
yes, yeah. Oh, and what was the movie that they were talking about that? Oh shoot, it's totally escaped me. And when he was friends with the screenwriter,
Oh, Dalton Trumbo
shoot,
or
yes,
Carl Foreman.
Trumbo.
Well, they were both blacklisted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. And I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a James Bond girl?
Was I a James Bond girl? I
Not in the
certainly wish
movies,
I
but
could have been.
not in the movies, but like in real
Mhm.
life. Were you like a big Bond fan?
Oh yeah, I love the older ones. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love Connery. He's my favorite of all the James
Yep.
Bonds.
Mhm.
It's funny. He was the dashing, suave, serious Bond, whereas Roger Moore was the Lothario Bond. you know,
Exactly. Right. 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 You
and,
get a little bit of different flavor on that one, for
yeah,
sure.
and people, say that Timothy Dalton came the closest to being the Bond in the novels than anybody. I think he was great in The Living Daylights. I wasn't a big fan of License to Kill, though.
Mhm. Mhm. I never read any of the books, so I was purely just on screen Bond, so I don't have anything to compare that to. I don't know. Did you? Did you read any of the books?
Never read a Bond book, but I'm thinking of starting now. Now that I'm older, I can appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've heard that comparison also, as far as the actor to the writings, and I never got that because I never read it. So
Yeah, I've been
yeah.
lucky. I've interviewed a couple Bond girls, Gloria Hendry from Live and Let Die, and Caroline Munro from The Spy Who Loved Me. That's my favorite Roger Moore one, is The
Hmm.
Spy Who Loved Me.
Right, right. Oh, and all the soundtracks and the music are
Oh,
so memorable too.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, that's what I think s- mostly just hits home with some of the movies too.
Yeah, I mean, A View to a Kill is definitely the worst Bond movie, but it's got one of the best songs, Duran Duran. Dance into the fire. That's such a great
Yeah,
song.
yeah. You hit it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh, did you have any
Oh,
movie star crushes growing up?
not especially so. If you ask me now, I have one that I absolutely um my favorite is Tom Hardy. I anything he does, he can do no wrong.
I gotta look him up. Tom Hardy. Oh, he's a British actor.
Yes.
Oh, he's a cutie.
He yeah. Um and I really first took note of him in Lawless.
Hmm.
Have you seen Lawless?
Not yet.
Okay. I highly recommend it. It's really good.
Okay.
It's taken off of loosely taken off of factual events, but it's good. It's really good. And then he's Venom, so there's that too. But yeah, I'm a big Tom Hardy fan. But
Nice.
growing up, not necessarily so.
Well,
Yeah.
growing up, I liked Catherine Mary Stewart, who's become a good friend of mine. She was in The Last
Mm,
Starfighter and all these teen movies in the 80s. I liked Valerie Landsberg when she was on Fame. I'm trying to get her on the show. It's not easy.
okay.
Um, let's see who else. There's a lot of different ones, and yeah, I mean, God, when you're spending that much time watching TV as a kid, you're gonna fall in love with so many different people.
Sure. Now, I think I've asked you this before and I don't remember your answer, but do you come to a lot of the conventions Of the of the various genres,
I used to
but the
I used
settings and stuff.
I used to go to a lot more before the pandemic, and lately
Hmm.
I don't go as much, partially for financial reasons and partially because um, wait, having this podcast and interviewing many people as you do, you kind of want to distance yourself from it because it kills it for me, you know. But
Okay.
I have gone to a few since the COVID has winded down and stuff, but just not as much as I used to.
Okay. Because I was just going to say, because so many of the celebrities are so accessible now,
Yeah.
even more so than in any years past. So, yeah, if you had a crush on anybody, I'm sure they're floating around at one of the conventions.
Oh yeah, I mean I've talked to a lot of them. I've told a lot of them and stuff. Haven't had any weirdness in that department and stuff. For other departments, yes,
Hmm.
but never for the crush thing. No, like Catherine Mary Stewart, for instance. She knows that I had a crush on her when I was a kid, and she's not weirded out by it. She loves it.
Well, and I think, being in the public eye, so many male and female celebrities, I mean, that just comes with the territory.
It
So,
does.
for any of them to feel uncomfortable, unless, somebody's a stalker or something,
Yeah,
it just comes with the territory, sure. And they should be flattered.
they are. They are.
Yeah, right, right.
My So, what was your first like drive-in experience? Like, do you remember the first movie you saw at the drive-in?
Oh my goodness. That had it it might have been one of the Harryhausens. It
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one, but it might have been one of those. It might have been it might have been Mysterious Island,
Mm-hmm.
but we're talking way early 60s. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know which one in particular though.
I told you last time what mine was. It was Weird Science and Rambo 2.
Weird science. How do I know that
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. Oh my God. They started taking me when I was 2 years old, and
Aw.
it got to a point where they had to stop for a while because I was either falling asleep in the back seat or I was getting out of the car and knocking on windshields.
Well, I mean, boy, I wish they still had drive-ins. So it's such a great thing to do for families, and especially families that have a budget.
They have some of them.
And yeah, I mean, you can take your own food, and you're just self-contained. We did it a few times with our kids when they were little, but then they started closing down, and there's nothing around us now. Do you have them up north now?
We there's one in San Jose, and in the future, I'm thinking about getting some people together and going because I haven't been to one since 2000. That was when ours that we had in San Mateo at the Burlingame Drive-In. It's long gone now. I think in 2001 it closed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wish they'd bring them back. I kind of think that they'd be popular. I I don't know.
Well, they kind of have been. There was a period during the pandemic where comedians were doing stand-up shows at drive-ins.
Oh my God, that would have been perfect at during the pandemic
They
for
did.
everyone to be in their own cars.
They
That'd
did. It
be
wasn't hugely
perfect.
successful, but
Oh my
they
gosh.
did do it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad I got out of
Yeah.
stand up before I could do that. I could never do a drive in.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Perform
Oh,
out
so you
there.
did stand up. Wow.
I did stand up for 10 years in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh. And why did you discontinue that?
One word, woke.
Oh, okay.
That was
Gotcha.
that's one reason. Yeah,
Really?
that's one of
So
them.
so fairly recently then.
Yeah, 2018.
Wow.
I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A little sensitivity doesn't lend itself to comedy.
No, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw Charlie Chaplin when I was 3.5. We went to go see the Michael J. Fox and Joan Jett movie Light of Day, and we went to the drive-in. My mom had to complain at the snack bar about something, and we saw this poster ad of Charlie Chaplin and Bagley's Cookies was what it was. It's the first time I ever saw Charlie Chaplin, and I was like, "Hey, mommy, I want a cookie just like that man has." And she's like, "You don't get a cookie. I'm mad."
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
My
Well.
my
Go
dad
ahead.
my dad used to go to the drive-in a lot in the 70s, and he would bring dates, and it would take him 3 times to see the movie because the first 2 times he was making out with the girl or fucking her in the car.
What else is a drive-in for?
I know exactly. I know there's people that have told me that told me that they say, "What, your parents took you to the drive-in? That's a little creepy." I'm like, "No, nothing happened like that. It's just that we wanted to have a drive-in experience because it was fun."
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's that too. There's the family style drive-in, and then
Yeah.
taking a date to the drive-in.
Remember the Flintstones? Like they went to the drive-in as a family.
Of course. See, if the Flintstones can do it.
Exactly, right at the beginning of the show, You
That's right.
put Pebbles and Bam Bam on top of Dino's head.
There you go.
That's what they did. Yeah, my dad went to
Oh
go.
my God.
My dad took dates to go see The Groove Tube, Rocky, Animal House, and it wasn't until the
Oh,
third time he saw them, he's like, "Oh, these are going to be classics someday."
oh my gosh. Once he finally got a look at the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good for your dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how about TV sitcoms?
TV sitcoms. Well, what about them? I
Like,
mean, did I have a favorite
yeah,
or?
do you have favorites? Did you like watch them a lot?
I mean, growing up, like I mentioned before, we only had like 4 stations, so that's all we had. And so, you flip them around, but every Tuesday you'd watch a certain show. Every, Friday night you'd watch a certain show. But yeah, we watched the staples, All in the Family, the Jeffersons, all that.
Hmm.
But we had our favorites. Um, Gosh, I don't think there was anything that we didn't watch. We watched all the Stephen J. Cannell shows. We
Oh, love
watched,
those.
you know, and then I was so happy because they stuck around for so long that I got to work on some of them, which was fun too. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean there were. Go ahead.
I mean, my dad, he was born in '57, so like when my mom was working during the weekends, when I was like 4 years old or something like that, we would turn on TBS Superstation. We'd see the Three Stooges, the Addams Family, the Munsters, Leave It to
Mhm.
Beaver, stuff like that. Gilligan's Island. I mean, he got me
Mhm.
into all of that stuff early on.
Yeah, those sound very familiar.
Yeah.
Those were staples for sure. I do remember we loved Man from Uncle. That was really big. That and Wild Wild West, and that's why when they remade them as movies, they were horrible. It was like, what are we watching? But
Yeah.
then you look back at the series, and that wasn't so great either. As we're adults now. But like I said, when that's all you have to watch, it,
Yeah.
you know, it was good stuff.
Were you ever offended by the Asian stereotypes in certain shows?
Uh, knee-jerk reaction, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but as growing up, that's all you saw. That's all you were fed. I think get you never get used to it, but
Yeah.
you get a little bit immune to it. It's still fucking offensive now, for sure.
Yeah.
But, I kind of look at it as it's a their problem. It's a them problem. I know who I am. I know what I'm all about. And whoever's putting that out, it just makes their ignorance blaring, as far as them.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, totally offensive. Gilligan's Island was notorious for that.
Yeah.
And quite a few of the shows, actually, taping, white actors' eyes to look like they're Asian. And
oh yeah, John Wayne in that movie, he did The Conqueror.
Sure.
Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh my God, that one's really horrible. That with the teeth. Oh my God, that one's really bad.
At that point, Nancy Kwan, was starting to get known, right? You would think that they would try to find a good-looking matinee idol, at least half Asian guy, to play roles in movies like that and stuff. I don't understand why they didn't, but in the early years of Charlie Chan, for instance, right? There weren't a whole lot of Asian actors in Hollywood, right? And the ones that were,
right,
they could barely speak English, and they looked like character actors, So it was really hard to do it. But then by the time, the late 50s, early 60s come around, you would think that they would try to make an effort, but they didn't,
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, things have to change for people to get certain ideas out of their heads, too. It's astounding to me. I used to work on the show Hotel a lot.
Yeah.
And there was one episode, I was just in the lobby making crosses, and the AD came up to me and she said, and I was just regular street clothes, dressed like, heels and a dress. And the AD came over to me and she said, no, she goes, I don't want you to just make a regular cross. I want you to put your hands together and kind of shuffle your feet and kind of bow as you're crossing. Mm-hmm. I looked at her. I said, "What? You want me to do what?" And I said, "I'm not going to." I could not believe that she asked me to do that. But in her mind, that's how Asian people walk. It was so bizarre to me. So I hope I educated her that day, but this is an assistant director telling somebody to walk like that, just because I look the way I look. It was amazing to me.
I'm sorry you went through that experience. I really am.
It's okay. I mean, again, I don't let a whole lot bother me because I'm confident in who I am, but it does amaze me on the thought process and the mindset of a lot of people, even in our day and age. It astounds me.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Monkees?
Oh, I love The Monkees. Mm-hmm. I love them, yeah. And I love the way that was shot. It was so, the fourth wall being broken, and just the really quick, fast, witty humor on that show. I loved it.
I had
along with the music.
I had such a crush on Davey when I was a kid. I still do. And I got to see. Yeah, I got to see the Monkees perform in 1997. They were at Candlestick.
Oh, nice.
They're at Candlestick Park. It was a Giants game, celebrating both me and my uncle's birthday, and it was great. I mean, it was just the three of them, because Michael went through periods where he didn't want to be in the band, and
right.
they drove off the field in a Cadillac at the end.
Oh man, I would have loved to have seen them.
Yeah, well, it's funny.
Yeah.
I interviewed Mickey Dolenz's sister, and she was singing with them on the farewell tour. I interviewed her the night of their last performance of the tour, and Michael died like 2 weeks later. But it was so nice because they had just got to St. Louis or wherever they were at, and they were exhausted, and she was exhausted, and they had just done a really long sound check, and so she was late for our interview. But then we got done in 30 minutes before showtime, and it was great.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice opportunity for you.
it sure was. Yeah, and
Yeah.
she told me just how difficult it was still being in high school when the Monkees were popular, because then, girls were coming out of the woodwork to be her friend because she's Mickey's sister.
Ah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, he showed up to one of the Monster Paloozas a couple of years ago.
Really?
Not signing. He
Oh,
just I think he's a Monster fan, so he was just
yeah.
there, just perusing around. So I just went up to him and said hello, and he kind of wanted to keep a low profile, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was really really good to see a monkey.
Well, when he does interviews now, he's always got sunglasses and a hat on. It's like he always wants to keep a low profile.
That's exactly what he had on. Yep. Yep.
Did you get to see Vampira or Sister Seymour growing up?
We watched Seymour on the regular. Yeah.
Okay.
He was local in LA here, so yeah, we watched Seymour all the time. And then of course Elvira, so
Yeah, because Vampira, okay, she was around 1954, and it was only a short
hmm
time, but she owned an antique store on like Sunset Boulevard or something.
Oh, I did
And
not know that.
yeah, this was in the mid to late 60s, and all the hippie rockers used to go there just because they were huge fans of her when they were kids, and they just wanted to hang out with her and get to know her, like Jim Morrison
Of
and Grace
course.
Slick and David Crosby, and God, all the hippie rockers that were in L.A.
Wow. Seems like things were more accessible then too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You can just like go
If
up and meet people.
if you go to a store now owned by a celebrity, right, they're not going to be there. It's going to be like all these yes men working there.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would never happen today. I mean, the
Mm-mm.
closest to it, Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer in the first Back to the Future, she has an Armani store in Studio City. She's always there, always.
Oh,
Even when she's
okay.
even when she's out of town doing Comic Cons, right?
Uh-huh.
She'll close the place. She used to have a few people working for her, but now she just prefers to operate the store herself. I think some bad stuff happened, but she's always there. That's like the closest to it.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Oh, she's
Well,
awesome.
good for her.
She's awesome. Me and my mom went there, and she gave me 3 dress shirts that are normally $500 a piece, and she gave them to me for 75 total and free autographs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that
Wow.
nice? Yeah.
Wow. Because of who you are?
Oh yeah,
Because
because she had been on my podcast already by that point.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Extra points for her. Wow. That's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you. I'm a huge MASH fan. Did you
Yeah.
did you ever work on MASH?
I did. I worked on several episodes and I got to work on the finale, which was
Oh,
special too. Yeah.
John Van Ness guest starred in that final episode. He told me just how crazy things were leading up to that episode. He says everyone was emotional and sad. They all knew that they
hmm
were going to miss each other. Even when they did that spin-off not long after that, they knew that they had built this family for over a decade.
Right, right. Yeah, it was, and even just being background because we're basically nothing, but we felt it too. It was really emotional, but we were just so glad to be there, to be included in that.
Yeah, it was I remember my dad. He didn't like that last episode. He thought that it was kind of weird that Hawkeye, went crazy for a moment there, with that kid and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Yeah,
Right, right.
but I love the goodbye.
Yeah,
I mean, I put that up there with the
yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore Show's finale, goodbye.
Yes, yeah. And I think finale episodes are always so tricky because the audience is so invested in it, and they all have, their own feelings about each cast member, each character, and I don't think they really even know what to expect either, and their expectations are so high,
Yeah,
and so whatever's given to them, what could be, exactly what you hope it to be. I know Seinfeld was like that, and I think the Friends finale was like that too. There was
the
a lot of
the Seinfeld
disappointment
episode
and
is a great
whatever.
example because people expected them to break character and do an emotional goodbye like all the other shows. No, they were never going to do that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it ended the way it
Yeah.
should have, but yeah, it is a little disappointing. I mean, you kind of think to yourself, what would have happened if they had done that? But then again, they would have been criticized, anyway. So, it happened the way it could have, it should have.
Exactly. And I think on all of these, I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's You're not going to make everybody happy,
Right.
So you just got to trust the writers and it is going to be what it's going to be. So,
Also, the talk shows back in the day, when you watch them now on YouTube, they're kind of like podcasts today, in that they were
oh
very long
yeah,
segments, very long form. Like Dick Cavett was the best at it, I thought.
right. Oh my God, I forgot all about him.
He
Is he still alive?
he's still alive, but he's been going through health problems for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow, Dick Cavett. Wow.
he would interview a celebrity for 90 minutes sometimes, and other times he'd have four people that you would never expect to see in the room. Kind of like later with Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, Um,
Yes.
I remember one time he had Janis Joplin, Raquel Welch, Chet Huntley, and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and
Oh God.
they got they got into a heavy political discussion, and at the end of the episode, they could all agree to disagree, which is so rare today because everyone's
Oh yeah.
against each other now. But back then, they all liked each other in the end.
That's refreshing because I think now everyone just has to be right.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah,
And if you are disagreeing with me, you're just the enemy, and that's just the way it is, which is terrible. We should just all agree to disagree. I mean,
right.
that is the way to be. But anyway, I'm an old lady.
It's okay. I like it. Um, how about there's so many westerns on TV back in the day.
Mm, a lot of westerns, a lot of hop sings.
Yeah. I mean, my dad and I, we used to watch Bonanza. He called me his little Hoss Cartwright.
Oh, little big hoss, big little hoss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we watched
love that
Gunsmoke.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we watched Gunsmoke and the Rifleman, and then later when the Western Channel came, he was so friggin' happy. I'll tell you because he saw shows he hadn't
Aw.
seen since he was a kid that I didn't see in syndication, like the Virginian, and the High Chaparral, and so many others.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got I got to
Yeah.
interview James Drury 2 weeks before he died.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Um, Jackson 5,
Oh,
uh, The Love You Save.
I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, Michael was a baby then. Yeah.
I
I don't even know what year that is.
I have to look that's probably like 69 or 70 maybe,
If that, yeah.
if that.
Mhm.
I was an MTV kid, so I got birthday money when I was 8, and I got Phil Collins' "No Jacket Required" and
Ah.
Poison's "Look What the Cat Dragged In" because I loved those videos on MTV, so I got those. But my parents were always buying me cassettes when I was a kid for Christmas or my birthday. I had Michael Jackson's "Bad," Janet Jackson's "Rhythm Nation," Paula Abdul's "Forever Your Girl," the New Kids on the Block, Wilson Phillips, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me what year you were born again?
1983.
Oh, 83. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Wow. Okay. Those are all good.
Yeah. my
Of the time.
my parents though had a big box of vinyl records that they had since they were kids, and they had everything from the Beatles to the Stones, Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart, Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison,
Yeah.
all the classics.
Got it.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that vinyl is making a comeback. There's nothing like that stinky, musky smell of
Yeah.
vinyl. It's intoxicating.
It truly is coming back, though. I mean, I think last Friday was Vinyl Record Day or something?
I saw something like that advertised. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of kids are putting the needle down on the record again. It's crazy.
I know. I remember a lot of my parents' records were so scratchy by that point. I would hear things get repeated over and over again. My brother had the soundtrack to Pete's Dragon, which is my favorite Disney movie.
Aww.
And like the part where Helen Reddy is telling the kid that Paul is never coming back. I just remember hearing over and over again, "He's never coming back. He's never coming back. He's never coming back."
Well, you know what the secret to that is, though. You get it depends on how bad the skip is, though.
Right.
You either get a dime or a penny, and you put it on top of the head of the arm of the where the needle is on top, and it's just enough weight to keep it to keep the needle into the groove.
Right.
And it won't skip.
Yeah.
that was our homemade fix to a skipping record.
Do you remember your first concert?
Oh gosh, I do not. I don't.
Well, I had two first
Tower
concerts.
of Power. Go ahead.
I had two first concerts. I went to Steppenwolf when I was 15. John Kay was the only original member of the band, and it's okay because he was very charismatic and funny. I enjoyed it. And then I saw Alice Cooper 2 years later. That guy is a fucking showman, I will tell you.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. My God.
Yeah, I just wish I remembered how he got killed at the end. You know, because he gets killed at the end of every show. He gets hung or electrocuted or something.
Yeah. And how old were you?
I was 17.
Ah, okay.
I remember we had just lost a big football game at my high school that day because I was on the football team, and I was so devastated. I was like, this has been a shitty day, but then the concert, made it all great.
Oh, wow, what a big day for you.
It was. Do you remember your first makeout song?
No, I don't.
I remember mine.
I don't know if music was on.
Mine was Janet Jackson's "Love Will Never Do Without."
Wow, man, your memory is like a steel trap.
It is. Well, you know, stuff like that is so emotional. You never forget it.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Go ahead.
Good. I was going to say, I'm probably not as emotional as you because I'm not remembering a whole lot.
That's okay. I mean, it makes great conversation. Do you remember the first, whether it was intentional or by accident, the first time you saw a porn movie?
I do.
Was it Deep Throat?
Was it? It was in. No, it was not. It probably didn't even have a title. Yeah. Yeah.
How old were you? It was probably in the theater, right?
No, it wasn't. It was at home
Hmm.
on a really bad VHS.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's probably the 80s then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. When I was a kid, so my mom worked for the cable company for almost 30 years. That was a big contributor to my cinephilia, right? And
Ah.
one night when I'm 10, I'm flipping through the channels. We had this channel called the Spice Channel. It was a porn channel. It was just we had it for a short time. We didn't have it very long. And so I turn it on, right? And I see some heavy petting going on. And I watch the scene and then I turn it off in fear that I'm going to be caught. And then 2 years later, when that makeout experience I just made reference to happened, right? I copied what I saw.
Oh, well, there
Yeah,
you go.
I
It was educational.
yeah I don't know the name of that movie, but I thank it for helping me.
There you go. And she thanks you too, or she thanks it too.
I'm sure she did. I just hope she would. I just hope she'll talk to me again someday. We had a falling out years ago.
Aww.
Yeah.
Is she still in the area?
I don't know if she is. I do know she was married for a while, and I heard that they just got divorced a couple years ago. Maybe I'll approach her again. I actually had her cousin on the podcast this past December, and
Oh.
she didn't want to give me a ton of information, and I respect that, so it's okay. But I'm curious to know what was it like growing up during the sexual revolution?
Oh. Uh, v- very free.
Yeah, of course.
We for every party we went to, um, if it was a house party, every room was occupied,
Right.
and yeah, there no holds barred. Uh, Everybody was pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've talked to
We
actresses.
didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, I've talked to actresses who were in theater in New York in the '60s, and they told me they hung out with lots of gay men, and the gay men were more dirty than the women because the women grew up in these kind of middle class conservative homes and stuff, and the gay men would talk about blowjobs this, blowjob that, and like women in those days they didn't admit to giving blowjobs. That came much later.
Ah.
Like after the women's liberation movement and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it depends on what side of the fence you're on and on your background and all those little fine tunings.
yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't have gay friends growing up,
hmm
but now I am. I have quite the the gathering of. I love my gay friends so much. I have the best time with them. Yeah,
I'm bisexual.
you are. Okay,
Yes.
well, I'm gonna add you to my list then.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there was this one actress. She told me, her and her gay friend, they were going to go see a movie once back in the late '60s, and he was late. And when he showed up, he said that while he was walking to her apartment, he saw this cute dog, and the cute dog just happened to have a really cute owner who's a guy, and so he struck up a conversation with the guy, and then they had a quickie in his apartment.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's how open they were back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that sounds about right. No kidding.
Did you have one of those mothers that insisted you got on birth control?
She did not insist. But she was very. She's always been very easy to talk to about all that,
Mm,
and not. She's not a prude at all. So I
okay.
was very lucky in that respect. Very lucky. So it's never been an issue.
That's awesome.
Yeah, growing up, yeah.
So,
Which I feel bad for, because some of my friends, that was a problem.
oh yeah, especially if they come from a religious household and everything.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, it's funny because my parents worked a lot when I was a kid, and I was home a lot with my grandmother. My grandmother was conservative Catholic Italian woman, and she tried to tell me, that that sex was evil, it was bad, and all this stuff. I believed her until she died, and then like once I started hearing the truth about my grandmother, about how she cheated on my grandfather and all this stuff, then
Um,
I let my freak flag fly, like starting that day, and I've never let it go.
yeah. Well, it kind of cancels out everything that she was probably professing to you. That's terrible when you get a little bit of a disillusion like that.
I think she had a little bit of guilt from it after a while. By the time I came of age, I think she had a lot of guilt, and I just think that when you come from narcissism like that and stuff, her father was mean. I mean, he abused my grandmother badly. I think when you come from that, I just like, you come from a
Sure.
time where you're not supposed to show your emotions or your feelings. I'm so glad that the hippie generation killed that, because we need more of
Hmm.
that, of people showing
Sure.
their true feelings.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, look, we've never met, and we can have a conversation like this too.
Right.
This never would have happened, years ago either. So it's all good now
Right.
for some people. I think others people, they still have their issues, but for most, I think it's a good thing for sure.
So tell me your Brewster's Million story.
Oh my! Well, it was funny because when you had posted that, I was thinking, I don't have anything fun to say about that because it was only a 2-day job.
Right.
Um,
Was it in L.A.
so,
though?
oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was in the valley, and it was so stinking hot. It was 100+ degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just in the bleachers. It was just I was watching the baseball game. So it was super boring, and they rarely panned. If you watch the movie, they didn't pan into the bleachers at all.
Right.
I think it was just a couple of quick shots, but
Yeah, a couple.
um, then it wasn't much of anything. I had a blast because all the stuntmen, most of the stuntmen who were the ball players were my friends. So
Mm-hmm.
when we weren't filming, we were just all hanging out, having a good time. So for me, it was a good 2 days worth of work, getting paid, having fun with my friends. But
Is this the
other
first or
than
last
that,
game?
you know what? As far as the storyline goes, I don't remember. I want to say it's the first one.
Okay, because that's got
Yeah,
Alan Graff on the team.
that yes, and
Yeah.
Alan is a very good friend of mine.
I want to get him
Have
on
you?
here,
Have
but he
you
hasn't responded to my DM.
he's had some health problems,
Oh.
and he's getting better now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I spoke with him about a month ago, and he's getting better now.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good.
but he keeps so busy,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
I
So
remember. Yeah,
yeah,
I like it. He's got the chains, and he's trying to whip Jackie Chan and Cannonball Run, and Jackie Chan just fucking just punches him in the face and then kicks him. It's so funny.
he would be a great interview, though. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, he's worked on everything.
Well, I got a Brewster's Millions interview next week that I've been trying to get for 7 years, and she finally said she's ready. Lynette McKee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Good score.
Yeah, I've been a fan my whole life. She's awesome.
Oh, good.
She loves my dirty jokes. I'm always posting stuff on Twitter, and she loves it.
Very good. All right, good. Oh, that should be a nice interview.
Oh, it's going to be. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tune into that one.
Awesome. You said you were also in JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling?
JoJo Dancer, yeah. So I worked in the scene where he's on stage in the club, and I went in just as background. But it was so sweet. He kind of I kept feeling him. He kept looking at me, and he directed also. So as he's doing his stand up, he looks at me and he says, "I want you to heckle me."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Do you want me to say anything in particular?" He said, "No, just I want you to ad lib, heckling me on stage." And so I did it, and that day I got converted. There used to be Screen Extras Guild, so I went in as a SEG,
Mm-hmm.
and then because Richard Pryor gave me lines, I was converted to my SAG card to SAG. So I'm forever thankful to Richard Pryor, because without that, who knows when I would have gotten my SAG card.
Oh, that's so
And
wonderful. Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah.
I've heard so many stories about how he helped a lot of people and just what a great guy he
Oh,
was underneath all that madness he had of being a drug addict and
yep,
coming from a prostitute mother and all that stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I was forever grateful to him. And super down to earth guy.
Yeah.
Really, it's just too bad we lost him, but really wonderful guy.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've talked to a couple people that was in the movie. Dennis Hayden, he was the really bad comedian in the movie.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
He looks like Huey Lewis. He was in Die Hard. Yeah, I talked to
Uh
him.
huh.
He's a good guy. And Joanna Lapari. Oh my God, she's got a great story about how she got cast in the movie. When she was a struggling actress, she worked in a venue that Pryor was performing at, and she had to go tell him that 5 minutes until showtime, right? And this was
Right.
during his drug years. He pulled a gun on her, which is
Oh,
a frequent story you'll hear from a lot of people who knew Pryor in those days. And he felt so bad about it later. He apologized to her and just gave her a squeezing hug because he just felt so bad that he did that while he was under the influence. So then, years later, she's at the audition for this movie, and she told him her name, and he got up and squeezed her again and said, "You got a part already. You don't have to audition. You got a part."
oh, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Wow, wow. Oh, that it was a great show to work on too. It was, it was like a family. I mean, you
Yeah.
could feel it. It had a lot of heart to it. I think it was a labor of love for him too. It didn't do well at all, but
No.
it was something. Um, it was something I think that he really had to do for himself. Um, you know.
It was something for him to get closure. And then he got sick
Yep.
right after that movie came out. He went on Johnny Carson, and everyone was saying
Yeah.
he looks like he has AIDS. But no,
Yeah.
he finally came public about it as he got more and more frail.
Yeah. Poor guy.
It was awful.
Yeah.
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 So how's your aunt doing?
Yeah. Oh, Auntie Esther.
Yeah.
Not well. She's 91 now,
Yeah.
and she's not real vocal. I saw her last month, um, but she's okay. You know, life goes on,
Yeah.
and
I'm sorry.
our love.
I had to ask though because she's such a
Sure.
pioneer.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's quite the lady. Um, I hope that I think somebody did interview her, when a few years back, but she just has such a history
Hmm.
um, behind her, and she helped so many people in the industry, uh, not just acting, but every aspect of the industry gets started. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I wish that someone would do something for her, but she's okay. Her family's loving her right now.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What color are your toes today?
Oh, that was a question from last time too. They're like an orchid.
Nice. I
Yeah.
I have light purple and they look so pretty.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's about the same. I think
Yeah.
were we matching last time? I
I
think
can't
we were close last time too.
I can't remember. It was like 6 months ago or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think it was it Christmas time? Did we do it?
just before, yeah, it was like right after
Or just
Thanksgiving, just before Christmas.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So are you gonna do Monsterpalooza this year?
We are. It is less than a month away. It's the end of May, and so my son's getting ready with his display, and all our friends are getting ready. Some people coming out from the East Coast, and one from Japan, and yeah, people coming from all over. So it's the 15th year. So
They're starting
kind
to
of excited for it.
Yeah, they're starting to do it at the time of my birthday. It's like my birthday weekend. June 6th is my birthday, and they're doing it the 7th and the
Oh,
8th and the 9th, yeah, or whatever.
oh, I think we spoke about that before.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, hopefully one of these days you make it.
yeah. It's been 5 years. I mean, the last time I went, I got to meet Jackie Joseph and Jonathan Hayes. I'm a big Little Shop of Horrors fan, and
Oh, yeah, right.
I got a lobby card signed. Oh God, it was so beautiful. I cherish it. It's my most prized possession.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure we passed in the hallways many times
I'm sure
and
we
didn't even
did.
know it. Let me know when you're coming down so we can meet in person.
I sure will. I got a couple jokes for you.
Okay.
Okay, what kind of meat does a priest eat on Friday?
Oh dear. It's fish day, so okay. What's the punchline?
None.
Oh God. Okay.
I love puns. I do. What do you call a musician that doesn't have a girlfriend?
Tell me.
Homeless.
Oh God. Oh God.
I'll be here all
Okay.
week. Shh. Rhonda, I love you. Thank you for coming back
All
on.
right. Oh, it was fun. Let's do it again.
Yes, you're a great nerd out, I have to say.
I'm just a nerd, period.
Love it.
Yeah, it was great visiting.
Yes, you have yourself a great day and be safe out there.
You too, Tommy. Good to talk to you.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye. Be in touch.
Be in touch. Well, there you have it. Rhonda Wong, ain't she a sweetheart? I just love her. She is so friggin' awesome. She was a fun nerd out today, wasn't she? I love that. Oh my god. And I get to hear her point of view about Asians on television portrayed, and stuff. That was a fantastic talk. I am very proud of that one. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.